With copyright, there are two main exceptions: Creative Commons, which is discussed in a separate video, and fair use. There can be a lot of confusion and misconceptions with fair use, so we are going to go over what it is and how it is assessed or judged. So what is fair use anyway? It is essentially any copying of copyrighted material done for a limited or transformative purpose. That purpose can be for commentary, criticism, news reporting, research, teaching, or scholarship. It is important to note that this is a legal doctrine, meaning it is a mindset, philosophy, or principle that judges should follow when making decisions. Fair use is not something that you can wave away like a get-out-of-jail-free card with a statement like, "I'm not infringing," or "This is fair use and I do not have bad intentions." This is a legal defense in which you would have to prove how and why it is acceptable to use copyrighted materials based on four main factors. What are those four factors? They are the purpose and character of the use, the nature of the copyrighted work, the amount and substantiality of the portion taken, and the effect of the use on the potential market. Now, these four factors are not clear at first glance. There is a lot of nuances to each factor based on past legal cases that have established precedent, meaning how future legal cases can be analyzed and settled. So let's get into it. The first factor of fair use is usually one of the most important factors. When a judge is looking at the purpose and character of the use, they are trying to see whether the potential copyright violation has a different purpose or character, aka what it does and what it is or looks like, and how different is the use from the original work. How do they analyze this? They are usually focusing on two main points. One, transformativeness, or how has the original copyrighted work been changed or evolved into something new, like an electronic image combined with other images to be turned into a physical printed 3D collage. And two, commerciality, such as you making money off of your use of the copyrighted material. There are some other considerations, like did you lawfully access the work, or was it pirated or used without permission, but those points are tied to those two main elements. The second factor of fair use is the nature of the copyrighted work. This factor is included as the courts recognize that some works are closer to the core of intended copyright protection than others. What does this actually mean? Using more creative or expressive works based on individual human or group creativity, like fiction stories, art, or music, is less likely to be considered acceptable for fair use than a work that is factual or based on function, like code and non-fiction information. This is based on the concept that ideas or facts by themselves cannot be copyrighted. Only the expression and fixation can be protected, so the specific format of the work and how it is stated or shown. The second factor is not as powerful as the other factors, as it rarely plays a key role in deciding fair use. The third factor is the amount and substantiality of the portion taken. It is a common misconception that this just means how much of the work was copied, when it actually focuses more on how much of the work is being copied and is the copied portion the heart of the work. Heart of the work means that it is the integral component to the copyrighted material. It is the key piece that makes the item what it is. This is up to the courts to decide, not the person claiming fair use. When courts look into this factor, they focus on three main elements. One, the amount used, which has a very prevalent myth that it is okay to copy up to 10 or 20% of something. This 10% rule is not true, as any amount of copying can be considered copyright infringement based on the evidence given. Two, reasonableness in the light of purpose, meaning did they have to copy the amount they copied, or was it excessive and they copied more than they needed? Three, the amount made available to the public. This looks into whether the portions copied were already publicly available legally, as well as how much of the portions copied were made publicly available through the use. The fourth and final pillar is the effect of the use on the potential market, and it focuses specifically on how the intended use would impact the market for the copyrighted work. The market is anywhere the copyright holder could or would sell their work, and the courts usually look at four main points. One, lost sales. Or does your use make it so other people would buy your work instead of the copyrighted one? 2. Lost licensing opportunities. Or does your use make it so people will go to your work instead of paying the copyright holder for the access to their work? 3. Public benefits, such as nonprofit use, like education, research for something like science or public health, or for free speech purposes. And 4. Market dilution, which originally focused more on a one-to-one or substantially similar copying that made it harder for the original to be purchased, like a pirated version. But due to AI, the United States Copyright Office has expanded this definition to include AI-generated content that competes with the original copyrighted works, as AI works are believed to be able to flood the market quicker than humans can make things on their own. We shall see how this new definition plays out in the court. While the fourth factor is usually considered the most important factor in fair use analysis, all 4 factors are analyzed and weighted based on their significant evidence. If you still have any questions, WCC Library is here to help. Feel free to reach out to us by email, phone call, text, or chatting online. A librarian will be available to chat with you Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.